Hello there, this is Laura Davalo and I'm here to show you an easy and quick way of using the Twist and Turn dynamics to create an interactive card with an underwater scene. When we pull on the pull tab, the cute bear and fish dive under the waves. It looks like they're having a blast. Let's start with some ink blending. If you don't have a whole bunch of distress oxide inks like me, you can create a nice sand color by mixing yellow with brown. I'm mixing some fossilized amber, which is a gorgeous color, with a little bit of walnut stain. And once I'm happy with the ink blending, I'll just add some drops of diluted ink with an old paintbrush by tapping it lightly against my finger. My favorite things has some amazing heavyweight translucent vellum, which is sturdy enough to use as a card base. I thought I'd give it a try and do some ink blending on it with broken china and faded jeans. The ink went on smoothly, and the only thing I did differently with regards to the sand dune ink blending was to not let the water droplets sit on the vellum. I immediately absorbed them with a piece of an old cotton shirt. Once the first panel is dry, you can use one of the dies from the Snowy Scene Builder Dynamics or something similar to die cut a sand dune. Mine measures 5 1/4 by 1 1/2 at its highest point. And before we move on to the mechanism, let's go through some other measurements. The top fold white card base measures 5 1/2 by 9 inches scored at 4 1/2. We'll also need a 5 1/4 by 4 1/4 sized panel of Berrylicious cardstock. And we won't know the exact measurement of the water panel until we assemble the mechanism and link it to our sky panel. These are the dies included in the Twist and Turn dynamics, and today we'll only need to die cut 2 pull tabs, 2 of these bars with 3 holes, and 1 of these that we'll use temporarily to assemble the mechanism correctly. I'm cutting the bars out of acetate. So I've already stacked the pull tab pieces with liquid adhesive, and I've also stamped the word pull from the interactive labels stamp set on it. And now I'm going to use mini brads to assemble the mechanism. The bars with the 3 holes are the vertical ones, and we will use those 2 center holes to link the mechanism to our panel. So after slightly tilting them to the right in order to make the movement of the elements even greater, I'm using a pencil to trace the holes onto our panel. We could use this little die which is included in the set to pierce the panel, but it's just easier and faster with a piercing tool. Now we can get rid of that upper bar and link the rest of the mechanism to our panel with brads. And if you haven't seen the Twist and Turn mechanism in action before, you can check out the videos linked in the description box, because today we're using it in a different way. I grabbed the pencil again to mark the movement of the pull bar so that I know where to add the foam adhesive. We don't have a lot of room for tape on the lower edge, and in hindsight I could have moved the mechanism a little bit higher up, but we'll make it work. I've already stamped, die cut and colored the elements from the adorable Best Fins stamp set, and now I'm placing the bear and the fish on top of the bars so that you can see what their movement is going to be like. Now is also the time to figure out how tall our water panel needs to be to partially cover these critters. We can use one of the dies from the Ocean Motion Dynamics to cut the edge, and then we can cut it down to size with a paper trimmer. My water panel ended up being about 2 7/8 inches tall. And I remembered that I had some of this clear dimensional tape in my stash. As you can see, it's hardly visible under the vellum, so I used a little bit of it later on. Since I die cut my sand panel with a piece of double-sided sticky adhesive on the back, I'm now peeling off the release paper and adhering it to my water panel. I've layered 2 pieces of regular foam tape off camera, and here I'm cutting a thin sliver to add to the lower edge of my panel. I've already added the stop so that the pull tab can't move too far to the left. There's a little bit of tweaking involved in this card because we don't want to hide those critters too much nor interfere with the mechanism. I'm using thin foam dots to adhere the bear to the right vertical acetate bar. We definitely need to limit the movement of the mechanism a little bit more by adding a second stop so that the bear doesn't hit the pull tab when he's diving. As you can see, there's a slight difference in the thickness of the two types of dimensional tape that I'm using, but the clear tape is quite stretchy, so I'll just stretch it out a little bit before adhering the two layers of it to the panel. After repeating the same steps with the fish, this is how I ended up applying the foam and clear dimensional adhesive to my panel. Unfortunately, my video camera ran out of battery and I didn't notice, so the part where I'm adhering the panel to the card base is missing. I use score tape for that, staying clear of the brad prongs. The clear foam tape is quite sticky, so I dipped the paintbrush in some starch and applied it to the sides so that the critters wouldn't stick to it. And watching how indecisive I am about the placement of each element, you can understand why I didn't include more footage of me decorating the panel. The fun sentiment is from the Sharky Sentiments stamp set, and I heat embossed it in white on a strip of black Licorice Prestige cardstock die cut with one of the dies from the Skinny Strips Die-namics. As a final touch, I added some clear enamel dots which look like air bubbles, and that's it. I hope you like this quick and easy way of using the Twist and Turn dynamics. If you have any questions or comments, I'll gladly answer them. Until next time, bye bye!